Hello and welcome to AHS Countdown. I'm your host, Max Smithman, and I'm joined by co-hosts Cal Floyd, Fabiola Sanchez, and Taylor Gottney. And today we got the biggest game by far in the state, Auburn versus Central, a game where the team that comes out victorious will also come out of the game as the number one team in the region, as well as possibly the number one team in the state for the current time being. And while both of these teams have already clinched playoffs, being the number one team in the region come playoff time would also mean being able to host every game in the playoffs up until the state championship, which is being held at Jordan-Hare this year. And that is, like I said, what these teams are fighting for tonight. Now, let's start off with the Red Devils. They are currently sitting at 6-2 and are currently right behind Auburn with a record of 5-1 in Region 2 play. And coming into this game, their only two losses have been a tough road loss against Opelika 17-14 in overtime, as well as a loss to national powerhouse IMG Academy by a score of 41-26. And coming off of a 54-14 thrashing against Lee Montgomery at home, they're hoping to spoil Auburn's perfect season and number one ranking. You'll remember that the last time these two teams played was actually Auburn's last game of last season, which was in Phoenix City like it is today, and it was for high stakes. It was actually the semifinals in the state playoffs, and Auburn ended up losing in a 28-17 affair. All of that being said, what are some things that the Central team does that the Auburn team, that the Auburn Tigers should look out for?
All right, so last season you saw Central being an absolute powerhouse against really everyone. This year it's really no different. It's kind of a well-known thing. This season they have very, very few close games so far, and they just really don't let the other team score in any capacity, and they are able to keep a really strong defense throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and to go on from that, their offense, their wide receiver number 2, Carmelo English, has been able to have rushing yards, and it's really good.
Yeah, like Cal said, their past matchups, and what Max said, the tough loss against IMG and Opelika, but all their other games have been pretty blowouts. So, and I just think they're overall really good team, so I think Auburn needs to watch out.
Yeah, and looking for revenge on last year's heartbreaking loss is the Auburn Tigers, who are, for the fourth consecutive week, are the number one team in Region 2, as well as the number one team in 7A football. And coming off of a 51-29 win over rival Opelika, the Tigers continue to look like the number one team in the state of Alabama. In what is possibly their hardest test of the season, how do the Auburn Tigers get it done on the road to keep that number one status?
So it's no surprise that Auburn has had some really impressive feats this season so far. Like the last two games in a row, we've had a pick six. In the Opelika game, we had Octavian Brown, or in the Ramsey game, we had Octavian Brown, and Coleman Granberry in this most recent Opelika game, he also had a pick six. And our ability to force turnovers in these games should not be overlooked. And fingers crossed, this trend continues.
Yeah, and to go along with that, Auburn went on a 31-0 run against Opelika after going 21-13 in the middle of the second quarter. Auburn's offense has been able to come back due to over the season due to being just scored in bunches.
I think one thing is that Auburn's just been on a roll recently. They've won their past 4 games by 21 plus, and I just think that after the first 2 games, they were super close, Hoover and Enterprise, and we've just been on a roll recently. I think Central needs to watch out for Auburn. They're just on a roll.
And like I said at the beginning of this show, both of these teams have already clinched for the playoffs, but seeding is still up for grabs. As it stands right now, either of these teams could finish anywhere from the 1 seed to the 4 seed in regional playoffs. And that being said, if the season were to end today, Auburn would be hosting Mary Montgomery from Region 1 with a very good chance of hosting rival Opelika in the second round. On the other side, Central, the Red Devils, would be hosting Daphne and would be playing the winner of Foley and Prattville, barring a win by Opelika against Enterprise tonight, but we'll talk more about that later. So we have talked about some things that Auburn has done well this season. Now, what are some things that the Tigers need to improve on in order to walk out of Phoenix City with a victory?
It seems almost like a tradition, me mentioning it at this point, but playing 2 full halves of football. With the Ramsey game, like we said, it was falling off in the second half, but I would say with the Opelika game, it was actually not having effort there at the beginning of the game in the first half. So just maximizing effort in both halves and limiting those big, because not having effort for just even a second, they get the ball all the way across the entire field. Just making sure the effort is continued all the way through.
Yeah, and I think something, especially with the last game, Opelika, we missed an extra point, we missed a field goal, and we also fumbled for a touchdown. So I feel like a team like Central, they could really take advantage of that.
I also think this is a really high-stakes road game, and the crowd's going to be a huge factor in this game. So I think Auburn needs to go into that knowing that and just fully focus on what the task at hand.
And with that, we move into our keys to the game. Now, both of these teams have different X factors that can help them take over a game. What do y'all think those X factors are going to be in this game tonight?
I would say it would be Auburn's defensive line, their ability to put pressure on the other QB. We might be able to maximize any interception or forced turnovers, which we tend to do a lot, so I'm hoping we get to do that.
I would say Auburn's reliable wide receiver core. We're constantly able to run the ball, and it tires defense, which is great. It also allows Auburn on scoring big runs, like we saw the one against Opelika.
I think one key to the game is Auburn being mostly made up of seniors this year. You got all the amazing dudes on the defense and offense, just veteran seniors, and I think they'll go into the game knowing all the pressure that's on this game, and they'll step up to the next level.
And now we move into our player profiles, where we will each highlight one player on offense, defense, and special teams that will be crucial to tonight's matchup. Who do y'all have as y'all's player profiles for tonight's matchup against Central?
For me, it's got to be number 12, Coleman Granberry, that I mentioned earlier with the pick 6. He's a senior linebacker, and I think you need to look out for him as well as last week's pick for me, which was Octavian Brown. I think they're both going to be some really big players in this game.
I'm going to go with number 9, Ian Nation. He's a junior wide receiver. Had over 200 receiving yards to go along with a receiving touchdown last game against Opelika. Probably the best in the reliable wide receiver core I talked about earlier.
My player profile is number 24, Tyler Mckenna. He's a junior punter. He's easily one of the best punters in the nation. He averages almost 40 yards per punt and is super reliable to flip the field on 4th down. And another one of my key players is the kicker duo Will Best and Towns, like I said last week.
And now we are going to send you to a quick commercial break, but don't go away, because next up we got the Friday night lineup, which has some new additions and an exciting surprise. Don't go away.
Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, safely drive that automobile. Eyes on the road, hands on the wheel.
Welcome back to AHS Countdown, and as you can see, where there was once 4, there is now 5. That is because today we have our first ever guest picker on AHS Countdown, and what can I say about him? Well, he is currently the man behind the magic of AHS Mass Media. What you're watching right now could not be done without him. Give it up for the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Dillard. Now, Dillard, how does it make you feel to be the head of not only a club of students, but an organization that is able to provide Auburn High School sports to people that can't make it to the games?
Well, I mean, I tear up at night thinking about it. I really do. No, look, y'all do a good job. All I do is I'm the bag holder. I hold all the money, okay? So y'all ask for something, all right, I give it to y'all. And y'all do a good job. Now, the moment y'all mess up, we'll talk about your pay after that. But for right now, y'all doing a good job, okay? So keep it up. I'm proud of y'all.
He's humble, too.
He's humble. And with that, we move into our last segment, which is the Friday night lineup, where we will all pick who we think is going to win tonight's biggest games across the state. Current standings are Fabiola and I are tied for first. We're both 10-2 on the season. Fabiola was 4-2 last week. I was 5-1 last week. And then tied for third is Cal and Taylor, who are currently both 6-6, and they've also both been 3-3 both of the last 2 weeks that we've done AHS Countdown.
Which one of y'all picked Smith Station? Hold up. I got a problem. Which one of y'all picked Smith Station? Was it you?
I mean,
Was it
I'm not
you?
going to say names.
I don't know.
No, I picked Lee over Jeff Taylor.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, nobody won, okay? Let's be quite honest.
And the last thing we add to the segment is more games. We are now going to be picking 10 games instead of just 6. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the first matchup, which is a Region 1 competition between Daphne, who's currently 3-4 and 3-1 in their region, at Mary Montgomery, who is currently 4-4 and 3-2 in the region. Who y'all got between Daphne and Mary Montgomery?
I think it's got to be Mary Montgomery. For very close records like that, I always take home field advantage.
Growing up, I didn't like Scooby-Doo. I didn't like Daphne. So I'm going to pick Mary Montgomery.
I'm also going to go with Mary Montgomery. It's just, I don't know, instant.
I'm gonna go with Mary Montgomery. I think the home field advantage will be too much.
Okay, well, I honestly think Daphne, because I've heard of Daphne more as high school. Both of these teams are not going to be big, big key teams in the playoffs. And so I'm going to have to go with Daphne on the road. I feel like they get it done. This is really a toss-up game between two teams in one of the worst regions in 7A football for Alabama.
You said you had a crush on Daphne?
He has a crush. He got it.
Oh!
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay.
All right.
I like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, but the other guys, I really don't care about them.
So, yeah, I'm going to pick Daphne, not because of the reason they said, but I think they're going to win the game. And now we move into the second matchup, which is another Region 2 matchup between Davidson, who's currently 2-5 and 0-4 in Region 1. Ouch. And they are going to Foley, who is currently 4-3 and 3-1, and actually number 1 in Region 1 currently, after they upset Fairhope for Fairhope's first loss of the season. Who do y'all got between Davidson and Foley?
It's got to be Foley. You can't deny the home field advantage. Plus, going against an 0-4 team, they're going to be hyped up. You know they are.
I'm going to back up to about 4 or 5 months ago here at Doug Sanford Stadium, okay? In the second or third round of the soccer playoffs, Davidson came in and beat us 7-3. And I ain't forgot about that, okay? So I'm picking Foley, right? I got Jeremiah, I got your back, okay? I'm not picking Davidson.
I also have to go Philly. Yeah.
I think it'll actually be closer than a lot of people think, but I think Foley will win in the end.
I'm going to have to disagree with Taylor there, and I'm going to have to agree with Dillard, not for the same reason that he said, but I'm going to go with Foley because, like I said, they just upset one of the only other two undefeated teams between Auburn and Fairhope, and they upset them on the road as well. And so I'm going to go with Foley. They return home,
Max,
and I think they're going to get
Yeah,
one.
he said Foley.
What?
He said Foley.
I said Foley.
He
What?
said Foley.
Oh, I thought you said.
See, that's why we're looking at
No,
you like
I know
you're
you.
stupid.
No,
He's disagreeing
okay,
too.
Taylor. I knew
Close.
you said Foley, but you said it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be close.
Oh.
I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Foley gets the win big at home. And now we move into a Region 2 matchup between two of the worst teams in this region. Smith Station, who's currently 1-6 and 1-4 in the region. His alma mater, actually, but I'm not going to talk too much about
The reason
that.
why I'm wearing black right now.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
wearing black for 2 reasons.
And then they go away to Jeff Davis, who's currently 2-5 and actually 1-4 in the region. Who do y'all got between Smith Station and the Volunteers? The toilet bowl, it's tough.
They're terrible.
Last week.
I think Jeff Davis, once again, home field advantage, and I think Dillard is going to be wearing black for a different reason, and that Smith Station is going to get murdered.
Dang. Oh, okay.
Oh.
You gonna take that, Dillard? Me personally.
He ain't wrong. But no, Smith Station, if you look at what Smith Station does, okay, they have a really good offense. They put up 47 points.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, they put up 40 plus points on Dothan at home. The only problem was that Dothan put up 57 points.
Yeah.
Okay? So Smith Station has the offense that can score. Jeff Davis, I don't think they scored over 21 points this season. Okay?
Not against Auburn.
So Smith Station, they didn't even get positive yards against Auburn. So Smith Station, if they're going to go in there, they're going to get a big dub in region play. Okay, so mark my words, the Panthers will leave Montgomery with the, they will get a win in Montgomery. I'm not sure they're going to leave Montgomery.
I'm going to go with Jeff Davis. Sorry,
Dang.
Mr. Dillard. But, yeah.
Going into this, I picked Jeff Davis, but I'm with Dillard. I'm gonna have to pick Smith Station. Beating Prattville is an impressive win, and
The only one.
just their past few games, they've, like Dillard said, scored a lot of points. I think Smith Station's gonna win this game.
I'm going to have to go with Smith Station as well because I think that, like Dillard said, they got a big win against Prattville. Actually, Taylor just said that. They got a big win against Prattville. Prattville is a team that is currently going to be facing Auburn next week, and I think that is going to be a very tough road game for Auburn. So I think Smith Station gets a big win on the road at Jeff Davis. And yeah, big morale booster going to next season. And next we move into Region 4, which is going to be a matchup between Austin, who's currently 6-2 and 5-0 in that region, and has actually also clinched the playoffs as well, along with Auburn Central. And they go away to Bob Jones, who's currently 4-3 and 3-2 in the region. Who do you got between Austin and Bob Jones?
Obviously, at least a region-wide undefeated team is intimidating, but I think, at least in this case, I'm going to stand by Bob Jones for this one.
I don't want to pick Orange Auburn to win this game. I just feel like it's destiny waiting to happen us playing Austin. But Austin is a really good team. They are one of 5 teams in 7A to clinch a playoff spot already. Okay, they're good for a reason. Bob Jones, I saw them last year when they came here to play Auburn. Don't look great. They started off really good this season, but then kind of.
That was last season, though.
I'm picking Austin.
Okay.
I'm picking Austin.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Mr. Dillard. Like, Austin's just looking really good, so.
Yeah, I think Austin looks really good. Yeah, I'm just have to go Austin.
I'm going to have to agree with Cal here. I think Austin is a very good team, but I feel like Bob Jones at home, I feel like they are a little bit better this year than last year, like Dillard said. So Dillard said they were bad last year, and they were.
Well, they were bad here.
Yeah, they were bad when they played here. But I think they get a win at home against Austin. I don't know. I'm just feeling a win here. Austin hasn't lost in their region yet, and I think they're due a loss. And now we move into a Region 3 matchup between Hewitt-Trussville, who's currently 5-3 and 3-2 in the region, going away against Spain Park, who's currently 2-5 and 1-4 in the region. Who do y'all got between Hewitt-Trussville and Spain Park?
Hewitt-Trussville, I think they just have that in the bag, honestly.
Hewitt-Trussville next.
Yeah, Spain Park just isn't looking too good, so Hewitt.
Say Hewitt.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Hewitt as well. They're just a better team. And now we move to the next one, which is a Region 1 matchup between Alma Bryant, who's currently 3-4 and 0-4 in the region. Ouch. And they're going away against Fairhope, who got their first loss, like I said, against Foley a couple weeks ago. And they're currently 6-1 and currently 3-1 in the region. Who do you got between Alma Bryant and Fairhope?
Fairhope. I mean, they have the full stack. They have the home field advantage. They're so close to being undefeated, and like you said, their first loss was only recently, which you could say would mean bad things to come, but I'm going to stand by Fairhope for this one.
No, I'm going to go Fairhope too. I mean, they're upset. They lost that game to Foley. So they're going to come out and, unfortunately for the Hurricanes, Alma Bryant, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Give me Fairhope by like 20 plus.
Yeah, I don't want to say Fairhope, honestly, but I'm going to go Fairhope.
Don't do it.
I'm going to go with them. Just Fairhope.
I think this is a big game for Alma Bryant, trying to get their first win of the season. I think they're just trying to aim for it, but I think they're going to go to Fairhope, and the home crowd will just knock them out. So
Yeah, like Dillard said, they are the Hurricanes. I think it's going to be kind of close to a hurricane of football raining on them. That was kind of a weird analogy, but they are going to lose against Fairhope is what I'm trying to say. They're going to lose big. He said by 20 plus. I'm not going to say that much. I feel like Alma Bryant, like Taylor said, he said Alma Bryant is going to try and get their first regional win of the season, and I think they're going to try their hardest, but they're going to lose. I'll say Fairhope by about 10 plus. Not more than 20 though. And now we move into a Region 3 matchup between Chelsea, who's currently 1-7 and 1-4 in the region, and they're going away against Hoover, who is currently 7-1, 5-4 in the region.
Come on, man.
Mainly because Hoover's in it, Mainly because Hoover's in it.
Wait, Hoover.
Hoover.
Hoover, yeah.
I think
Yeah, Hoover.
Next.
Okay, next. Yeah.
No.
People are waiting for the game.
No.
You do it.
I have family friends that live in Chelsea. I love
they're
the high
gonna
school. I love their football team. I think they're going to go into Hoover.
Tell them to hop
You
on the
shouldn't,
field then, brother.
you shouldn't love your family that much. Hoover's gonna.
No. Chelsea's going to win this game.
No, Hoover.
Upset of the week.
I
I will
Upset of the
say,
year.
I will say,
Upset of the year.
I would bet money that Hoover wins that game by 20 plus, like Dillard said.
20?
20
I
plus.
think 20 plus at halftime.
Yeah. Okay, well then, go 30 plus. I'd go 30 plus because I think Hoover not only is going to win this game, but I feel like they will face Auburn
Old
again
Mountain trash
in the
too.
state
We
championship.
picking Old Mountain game in here?
What?
We picking Old Mountain game in here?
Hey.
No, I'm not going that
Oak
far.
Mountain's
I'm
good
not-
at basketball.
Is this basketball?
Yeah, it's not
I'll see you in a
Chelsea's
couple
going to go into
weeks.
Hoover and win. That's
I'll see
my
you in a
upset of the
couple
year.
weeks.
Okay, well, I think I'm just going to finish it off here. I think Hoover's not only going to win this game, but I think that Hoover is going to face Auburn again in the state championship. Don't mark my words because, we still got state playoffs coming up.
Or if
but
they lose to Chelsea, they won't.
I do think I do think Hoover's going to win this game, and then they're going to play Auburn in the state championship, a rematch of that close early season game between them. So Hoover wins that, no questions asked. And now we move into a Region 2 matchup. This is a pretty big game. It's Enterprise, who's currently 4-3 and 2-3 in the region, and they're going away against Opelika, who came off that just hurtful loss against Auburn 51-29. They are currently 5-3 and 4-2 in the region. Who do y'all got between Enterprise and Opelika?
I got to go Opelika for this one because even though we did beat them by at least like a pretty wide margin, they are a very competent team, and I think they'll be able to do this.
I think so. Enterprise, they're kind of on a hot streak right now. Opelika is a little bit deflated.
Enterprise has lost to Prattville.
I said right now.
Okay.
Well, that was a couple of weeks ago.
That's true.
What has Enterprise done the last couple of weeks, Max?
They've been playing really good.
They've been playing some they've been playing some really good football, haven't they?
By 50.
And they're going to continue that hot streak
Okay.
when they go to Opelika, to their house, and beat the Bulldogs. Mark my words.
Okay. I'm
I feel that. I think I'm going to go Mr. Dillard for that. Enterprise, yeah.
I think this will be a really big game, one of the biggest games in the state. And I think Opelika will have the home field advantage, but I think Enterprise is just on a roll right now. They're trying to bounce back from that tough loss to Prattville. And I mean, they kept it close with Auburn the second game of the season. I think they have a good chance to beat Opelika.
Yeah. So you're going with them, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Enterprise too. I'm gonna have to agree with them and not with Cal. Sorry, Cal. I mean, maybe this is really another toss-up game. I do think Enterprise is going to win, and they're gonna win on the road because they are the better team. And I feel like, they are the better team than Opelika, enough said. And now we're going to move into the next matchup, which is right before our matchup between Auburn and Central. Region 3, a big matchup, to say the least, between Thompson, who's currently 6-2 and 5-0 in the region, and has also clinched the playoffs. And they're going away against Tuscaloosa County, who has Auburn's former head coach.
Who?
Auburn's former head coach.
Who's that?
Weingarten, yeah.
Okay, this whole segment.
I almost
This whole segment's censored. All right, everybody, go to the next game.
I tried not to forget it. I tried not to remember his name after that loss in the state championship, which we don't talk about. But Tuscaloosa County won 5-2, and they're 3-2 in the region. Who do y'all got between the Warriors and Tuscaloosa County?
Which one did you say had Auburn's old coach?
Tuscaloosa County.
Thompson.
Okay.
To be fair, I was not hired when the state championship debacle happened. Okay,
You're lucky.
Not to open old wounds, but I was sitting in my living room, and one of my friends texted me and said, "You saw what happened to Auburn?" And I watched the clip, and I was like, "That's funny." And then they offered me a job 2 weeks later. Bar that, Thompson, a really good team. Thompson, I know they have 2 losses on the season. Do you know the 2 losses are to?
They're
Buford and Nashville.
Which are both the top in their states.
Yeah, Buford, who is number 5.
They're 5-0 and
nationally.
7-8.
And then a team in Tennessee that they're both state champions. So Thompson, Thompson by a decent margin.
Yeah, Thompson.
I think people are kind of underrating Thompson for those 2 losses, but they're undefeated in 7-8, and they've just blown out every opponent they've played since those 2 losses. So I think Thompson goes into Tuscaloosa County and beats them by a lot.
Yeah, I think this is Thompson all the way. Tuscaloosa County is a pretty good team, but they haven't been great, and I think Thompson is on another level than them. And yeah, I think Thompson's going to win this game by, like he said, a decent margin. And now we move into our game of the night, which is the Region 2 matchup between your number 1 Auburn Tigers, who's currently 7-0, and 5-0 in the region. And they have also clinched the playoffs. They are going away against number 4 Central, who's currently 6-2 and 5-1 in the region, and they have clinched the playoffs as well. Who do y'all got between the Tigers and the Red Devils?
It's been my pick and everyone else's pick every other week. Here, there, anywhere, here, away, undefeated, Auburn.
Oh, am I next?
No, I think Fab's next.
Well, I mean, I can't go with Central. Of course, I'm going with Auburn.
I think this is going to be a really close game. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter, and I think my player pick from last week, Towns McGee, will make a clutch kick, and I think we'll win by a field goal in Central.
That's
Yes.
very specific.
This is a very tough matchup. Like I said, the toughest probably of Auburn's season. Going on the road against Central is never an easy task. As you see, as it stands right now, Central almost has as much wins against us that we have over them times 3. And so it hasn't been great in recent history, but I do think this is a different Auburn team. I think this is a state championship Auburn team. I think this is a team that deserves to be number 1 team for the fourth consecutive week, but it's going to be the 5th consecutive week after this week. Give me Auburn, and I take them. Actually, I'm going to take them by going, I think we win this by at least a touchdown.
Look, y'all
Come on now.
y'all off Smith Station, right? Mm-hmm. Smith Station. Now, how bad y'all don't like Opelika, Smith Station don't like Central, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's our cousin that beats us up every time we go over to Grandma's house, okay? I don't like Central, okay? Ever since I've been here, we've beaten every team in football that I've seen. I've not experienced an Auburn win over Central. I've had two opportunities.
Were we 0-2 last year?
Yeah,
0-2.
against Central. Yeah.
0-2. Okay. I think this team is a lot better than last year. I think the defense is still great. I mean, 29 points against Opelika. Granted, one of the touchdowns was a fumble that got returned, right?
Yeah.
But until the Opelika game, nobody has scored over 21 points against Auburn. Auburn, this team, ever since the Enterprise game, so like 6 games in a row, has scored 31 plus points. This is a tough Auburn team to beat. Not only that, they're more versatile. With Davis Harson and Clyde Pittman at quarterback, they can take the top off the defense. They got the big wide receivers. They got the tight ends out there. They got the running game. Auburn has everything they need to win this football game.
So do they.
However, somebody help me. Auburn's gonna win this football game. I don't know how much.
Yeah, you know what? We need to do it.
It doesn't even need to be strapped.
Auburn's gonna win this football game, and they're gonna take the region title next week against Prattville, and Auburn's gonna ride that into the semifinals. Whatever happens there, I don't know. But Auburn tonight is gonna win this football game.
And that's going to do it for AHS Countdown. We hope y'all enjoyed this AHS Mass Media presentation. With that being said, from all of us at AHS Countdown, we hope you enjoy your Friday night of high school football, and we hope to see you back here next Friday when Auburn goes on the road to take on Prattville.